Looks like it's on. Testing the mic for our District 4, Selma City Council, Selma Aware 2020. Thank you to the viewing audience that are being patient with us on YouTube as we reset our feed here in the Selma City Council chamber. There we go. We appreciate your patience. For those of you that are watching live on YouTube, we're going to reset and kick it off with District 4. People are still commenting online. Yeah, they have to go to a new channel. They have to come out and come back in. Okay. I think they might be able to. Will they be able to hear me? No, they're the wrong one. I don't completely felt that it come back in. Okay, so you do have a different feed? Yeah, right now. Okay, so this is your moderator. Yeah, I got it back up. It's just, it's on a different, I had to refill it all the way back and bring it up. So, I'm going to give it a second here. See if people can find it. Unless they get comments. I can comment in the box. I just did. Okay, you're good. Oh, sorry. Looks like there are two on, so Selma Cares and Reina Rivera's Zoom meeting live feed. So which one are you using? It's the Selma Cares. It should be Selma Cares. It shouldn't be Reina. Okay. So the newest one will go through. They have to go back in and restart it. They don't have to restart. Just gotta go find the new feed. Okay. You go back to the YouTube channel, and then yeah, you can do it. Yeah, they're starting to comment now. I don't know, but I'll get some comments tomorrow, I'm sure. Okay, so you're welcome to give it a couple of minutes, let them come in, chime in.
Is it Selma?
Sure.
It's Selma Cares?
It is the one
Yeah.
that says Selma Cares.
Thank you, everyone watching at home. It looks like you're finding your way to the correct live feed. Go ahead and spread the word. Text people, Facebook people, whatever you want to do, but let them know that we're using the Selma Cares feed on the City of Selma YouTube channel. And we'll start in just a few minutes.
We will leave the mic in video running just so we can.
So we don't have any? Yeah. Not too bad. Yeah, you could be on that side. Okay, hold on. Those three people. Selma Cares, you. Let me see if we. I know, you're the doctor.
We have 26 people watching, so I think we're good to go.
Go for it.
All right, thank you again for your patience. We're going to begin with the Selma City Council District 4. We have candidate Bev Cho and Lorraine Perez. We're going to allow them to give a 1 minute qualifications, community involvement, and why they're running for District 4. We're going to begin with Bev Cho.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bev Cho. My parents came to Selma in 1963 and opened the Cho's Kitchen at the old 99. We've been in a new location or present location since 1967. So in about 3 years, we'll be celebrating 60 years of Cho's Kitchen. I have two sons. One decided to go to college and he's not going to work in the restaurant. The other one is my master chef. So Jarrett, my son, and I are running the restaurant. Okay. I'm in several communities, organizations. I am in Central Valley Lions and Lions Club, Selma Kiwanis, Selma Women's Club, and Selma Care. And I'm very active on most of the projects that we do in Selma. And then I usually try to do projects with them so that we can continue on, so that's why I'm very, and all the, any community thing, I always do help. And I'm going to, oops.
Oh, that's good.
Sorry.
Thank you, Mrs. Cho. We'll go ahead and ask Mrs. Perez.
Good evening. My name's, I prefer to go by Lori.
Lori.
Thank you. Um, Born and raised here. I lived here 68 years. I come from the barrio, so I know all the problems that go on there. I have one son. I have 5 grandchildren. One that graduated, my oldest granddaughter graduated from Santa Barbara. The other one is at UC Davis. And I have one in Fresno State. And I have 2 younger ones who are in elementary. Um, my involvement with the community, I've been involved with the Relay for Life and also with Mrs. Tucker with her cancer program that helps the community, anybody that needs help with money to pay bills or pay gas or for food. We have the walk, but this year it's not going to happen. Um, okay.
We'll let you continue here with the first question, and you can probably touch on why you're running as well. But what is the biggest change you would immediately like to see in Selma?
The biggest change is I would be with safety, because in the area that I live in, we've had shootings in the past, and I mean they were so close I would drop to the floor. And when I had my grandchildren, I just didn't visiting me or spending the night. I didn't feel safe. I didn't even want them to play outside. So my concern is safety. I would like to see more police officers hired.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go to you, Mrs. Cho. Would you like us to call you Mrs. Cho tonight? She wants to be called Lori, but
Bev.
Bev is good. Okay.
Bev is
Yeah,
good.
we'll just relax here this evening. So,
Okay.
what is the biggest change you would immediately like to see in Selma, Bev?
Hmm. Well, first I got to say this is the first time I've ever done anything like this, and being political, not at all. So that's why I'm pretty nervous up here. I like to see Selma change. I think something's missing lately because even like I deal with a lot of customers, and somehow or another I feel our people are not proud anymore to be here. So I think we need to work on some of that. Basically trying to keep our business in town, instead of them leaving and then bringing new businesses in there. Um, and then also the housing area, since our town is a bedroom to Fresno, we should be able to produce enough affordable housing that would bring some people into our town and make it a thriving town. Some of that is the thing I think is good changing coming because we haven't had a whole lot of changes in that area, especially in the business world, which is what I'm in.
Excellent. Well, we'll stay with you, Bev, and go with the second question. Many individuals and businesses have indicated that it is more expensive in the city of Selma for permits and business licenses versus other communities, making it more favorable and encouraging them to locate in other towns. What are your thoughts regarding this, and how would you address this issue?
That is, yeah, that's kind of hard to hear because, everybody else around is also a small town. So I don't know what makes our town more expensive. Because, with COVID, when the clears, you don't even know who's going to be standing. It's how hard it is. So for people to even go out to try to get into a business world is tough enough. So if they're going to go against fees that's higher than they can afford, of course they're going to go to a town that's not going to, cost so much. So I'm hoping we maybe, we can, as a council, go research that and see why are we charging so much? Are we having, what is the reason for all that extra money that's charged when the other towns can get away with not doing that? And that's what we need to find out.
Okay. Thank you. Lori, would you like to again answer
Well,
that
I
question?
agree with
Mhm.
Bev. I mean, here we lost Save Mart. What my understanding is they need the Save Mart move. Well, they lost their business. Some of their employees went to Kingsburg to Save Mart in Kingsburg, and what I heard was that they needed some remodeling, and the owner who owns the building did not want to remodel. So that was the reason we lost Save Mart. And also, I mean, why are they charging so high, a rent? And I think also like that we should look into that because we don't want to lose any more buildings, any businesses here.
It's good. I appreciate you actually approaching it that way. But in regards to the vacancy of buildings like Save Mart, we'll start with you, Lori. What is your solution to the homeless issue that we're facing in Selma?
That's a big issue for me. I mean, I was one of those people who was complaining. I mean, I've lived here all my life, and I've always said, it's not what it used to be. I was one of those people, and I still am. Uh, a lot of them, I understand. They lost their jobs, and but those are the ones that are willing to get the help and go into a program. But then we have the tweakers, the drug people. They don't want the help, and I know personally because I've had family that have been out there and they choose to be out there. They rather sleep under a bush and there's no need for it. And some of them, that's the way they want to live. But we have to do something about it. We have to, if I'm voted in and join the council, we need to get our heads together and plan something. It's not going to happen overnight. Maybe, a building that we can have a shelter, something, instead of them being out there because I believe if we want businesses to come in, if it was me, I would not come into a community where you have a lot of homeless and there's trash everywhere. And I would look into how safe the town is, how high the crime is. That's what I would look into before I moved in if I was a business person.
Okay, thank you. Bev, how about you? What is your solution to the homeless issue?
Yeah, it's been like coming about. I think we do need, we need to help them set up some programs that we could, put them in if they're willing to. I think everybody is trying really hard to help them the way we're doing it, but it's just not that easy because since COVID come in, then nobody even wants to go close to them. That's even a tougher world right there. But we do need to work on it. Like I say, get some maybe in Selma itself, get some programs that we can get them in instead of, they don't have cars. You're going to drive them to Fresno, wherever you're going to send them. They don't have transportation, so we have to work a little bit harder, I think, and put in some programs that can put them into, help them to get through their homelessness, which is tough. It's a tough world right now, especially like all the business, like you say, the businesses are going out that, that's going to be maybe more. And that's so sad, so sad. So.
Well, with the new dynamics that are presented with the way Selma has decided to go with dividing up into districts and with the new elected mayor, what do you think, Bev, that the relationship between the mayor and the city council should be going forward?
Well, as I heard, like I say, I'm new at this. The mayor basically is another vote, but since mayor is also a title which we should respect because he is representing our town, and so as a council member, my goals are hopefully that we'll be able to be a united council and solve the problems without all the conflict. Find some good solutions by working together, and mayor is a respected person. I think he should be respected, even though he just gets a vote. But okay.
Lori?
Well, I like the idea that the community can vote for their mayor. I always wanted that myself, and if elected, I believe we should work as a team. We're here for our community, and we should all put our heads together and work as a team and not argue amongst ourselves. And we're all going to have different opinions. We're not all going to agree, but we got to take each phase as it comes, and whatever more important, let's work on that first and go to the next.
Yeah, excellent.
Really.
Thank you. I just want to ask you both this question, and I know, Bev, you're a business owner, but when we look at the issues with COVID that put restrictions on us in the community as far as closing down and going into shelter in place. So with the COVID restrictions in place, how do you plan to listen to people and be on the lookout for the needs of the people of Selma? We'll go ahead and continue with you, Lori.
Well, I'm a hands-on person, so I do like to be speak with the person, get to know them, they get to know me. I figure if I'm safe, wear my mask, you know, use my sanitizer before I go home because I'm also my mom's care provider and she's 91 years old. So I do have to be careful. If I keep my distance, I think it'd be all right.
Bev?
Okay. As a business person, you're right. They just gave us 25% for dine in. And it's a tough world because, 25% is 5 tables, which is not a whole lot. People are trying to keep safe. Most of my customers are with the mask. The only thing is, it's just, we're just trying really hard just to survive this round. And it's a tough one, and we can't foresee what's going to happen. Uh, Hopefully it'll get better, but I don't see that really fast. So we have to take care of each other. That's the key thing. And that's really important. Keep, everybody, our families and friends safe. And that's very important. So to me.
You're both new to politics,
Yes.
and
You can
just
tell.
and considering that, how would you put your people in your district at ease and allow them to really take confidence in you serving in this capacity? So we'll go ahead and start with you, Bev.
Okay. Since I've decided to run, I have to thank all my people that support me. Most of them support me, but they can't vote for me. So I thank them anyway. It feels really good because that means, people have they have the faith in me that I can do this job. And you're right, I don't even know this job until I'm really into it. If I get on, uh, I'm ready to work. I worked hard almost my lifetime. Challenges are good for me. I'm a good problem solver. So until I see a problem actually in front of me, I can't tell you what I can do yet. And that's basically, I'm going on my own because, like I say, I have a lot of people behind me, and I feel good that I can do this job.
Lori?
Well, half of them on the barrio are related to me, so they got my, I got their vote. But also, I have a lot of friends that are not in my district, but they do support me. And the people in my neighborhood, you know, I told them I would work very hard to make our neighborhood and this community a safe community, so they could feel safe.
That's good. And we'll end on this question. We'll give you a minute each to answer this question. And just with the way the country is going, and if there were any changes in our budget here in Selma in regards to defunding the police, this might be a difficult question for you all to answer, but I want you to do your best. What leadership will you bring to the city council in order to handle an issue that difficult? Lori?
Wow. um, that one's a hard one. Um, I would just work very hard because I want to support the police department. I really want more patrolling in our community. So wherever it would take, since I'm new to this, and like Mr. Medina said, get my feet wet. But I would work very hard to make this community a safe community.
Excellent. Bev?
Okay. So basically, being a leader, you have to know what your people can do, and you never ask them to do anything you can't do, and that's based. I've been I guess, a leader and several presidents of different clubs for a long time, different times. So I think as a person, you just need to know your people, and that's what you see what they can do versus they can't do. So and then you all work together. It's got to be united. That's the key thing. United. Okay, and then we can solve anything.
Excellent. Well, thank you, ladies, for your answers, and we appreciate, again, your honesty and your transparency in sharing
Thank
with
you.
us, and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a few-minute break to sanitize. We're going to make this transition really quick, and we'll be right back. We're back on. Oh, we're back on. Thank you for again your participation at home. We really do value your time, and we're going to transition into Selma Unified. This is District 2. We're going to go ahead and just start with introduction, qualifications, community involvement, and why you're running. We'll give each candidate 1 minute, and we'll begin with Cesar Baerano.
My name is Cesar Baerano. I've been a police officer for the city of Selma, for 22 years. I'm also a graduate alumni from Selma High. Went through all the school systems here in Selma. I've also been a campus security for the district for several years for Lincoln Middle School, the high school, and also did some work for Eric White, not associated with being an SRO. I'm also an alumni from Leadership Selma, and I want to continue to build a stronger foundation for our future leaders, which is within our youth.
Thank you. Move to Preet Nagra.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jaspreet Nagra, and I'm a recent product from our public Selma schools. So I graduated from Selma High in 2016 and UCLA in 2020. At UCLA, I never left Selma behind. I gave student groups from Selma tours of our campus between classes and provided continuous outreach. I worked for the Chief of Medicine and Pediatrics at UCLA as a director of a nonprofit where we created resources for local underserved schools. As a learning assistant, I helped create research-based materials to create equitable education and give attention to students from underserved communities like Selma. I want to represent our community because I know we can do better for our students when it comes to reducing the education gap. My goal as a school board member is to provide a fresh perspective in bringing the focus back to investing in student success and opening lines of communication so everyone can be a part of the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nagro. Mr. Soda.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Narinder Nick Sahota. I am a proud parent of 3 children and a first-generation farmer, graduated from Selma and Fresno State. I'm a CEO of Central Valley Engineering and Surveying, and I'm active members of many associations. I will name a few. I served as a Rotary Club president. Currently, I'm a director of Selma Business Alliance, Chamber of Commerce, Regional Bargaining Association. Like you, I care about our children because I'm a parent too. And we all want what is the best for our children. I know there's a lot of works I need to do. I will work with the Board of Trustees follows and superintendents to create the best learning environment for our students and put them in a pathway to the success. Thank you. I'm looking forward to your support this November.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, we'll move forward with questions. You'll each have 2 minutes each to answer the questions. We're going to begin with Ms. Nagra. What is the biggest change you would immediately like to see in Selma Unified?
Yeah, so the first thing that I think we should do is start to form partnerships, either with local businesses, colleges, and community members, and it should be a priority. So this is something I've already started doing as a candidate. Over the past few weeks, I've taken the time to meet with education and community leaders from across the valley to make sure we're bringing successful ideas, programs, and initiatives that are already implemented in other school districts that are similar to ours so we can see what's working and we can implement it here. And I also believe it's important to connect with the city council to combine ideas and resources. So, for example, we can do something like creating a community hub where those that need certain resources can access them, whether it be for arts, accessing school supplies, or even things such as that are simple as printing. So, with partnerships like these, we can be fiscally responsible in the choices we make so we won't run into more budget problems that cause us to make cuts. Something, specific example of a program that was built out of a partnership was the Doctors Academy. That program was recently cut in our schools, but it was formed through a partnership with UCSF Fresno. And what that partnership does is it provides funding, but it also provides health professionals that collaborate with our teachers so that they can give either talks with our students, and that program did more. It gave tutors to our students while in school, and it also helped after students graduated. But yeah, I think that building partnerships is the first thing that we should try to do so we can combine all of our ideas and resources.
Thank you. We'll go on to Mr. Sahota with the same question. What is the biggest change you would immediately like to see in Selma Unified?
As a board of trustee, the biggest change is we are going through the pandemics right now. Our children's having hard times getting a proper educations, and being as a board of trustee, we needs to be find a better education system that would more effective for our children's and well as for the teachers. And some of my priorities will be community is the first to me. I will believe it in a community and a parents work together, and also we do have a other problems, accountabilities, and we have a budget cut, $3.2 million, and we try to restore those soon as we can is allowable. And well as we have our academics achievements are gone down, and I will try to work with our school system and with the teachers and with the well as the superintendent. I will work with them, try to bring that up. And lastly, I would say that we do have problems with the our children's, and we will continue to work under the Care Act and bring in more money. And we have the money, and we'll try to use that where it's appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Baerano, same question. What is the biggest change you would immediately like to see in Selma Unified?
Continue the growth with safety for our students and our staff. If our students and staff do not feel safe, they will not flourish in class. Second is accountability with administration, staff is paramount. We shall take care of our students and staff. I believe that our next superintendent, when the time comes, should come within the ranks of our groomed staff. I would really love to see our staff grooming our next superintendent from within our ranks, because we've lost plenty of great staff to other districts for no need. We have great leaders in our education system that have left us, and we can't, that's not acceptable. We have to continue to be able to serve as leaders and groom the next generation from within.
Okay, thank you. And we'll go ahead and go on to question number 2. What do you feel should be done to make classrooms safe for children, staff from communicable diseases? I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Mr. Baerano, because I heard you mention safety. We'll go ahead and start with you.
You know, I was a school campus cop for several years, and I would definitely like to implement the training for the staff to be able to respond to situations as an active shooter situation might arise. Second, I would like to have a fence built around Lincoln Middle School. You know, about 2 years ago, I was working patrol in the Southwest in front of Iroquois School. And it's a very difficult situation for me to even talk about to this day. You know, there was a gentleman walking his daughter home from school, and he got killed in front of our children that were walking home. That is not acceptable. It is my responsibility as a dad, as a community member, as a police officer, and I consider myself a leader of my district, to continue to enact and empower our staff to take action when it's needed in those situations.
Thank you. Good. We'll go to you, Ms. Nagra.
Yeah, so when it comes to safety regarding things like COVID, I think that we should definitely be listening to the scientific experts. I have a bachelor's of science and biology, but even I'm not an expert and I don't know enough to even advise on that. So we definitely need to be working with our scientific experts on when and how it is safe to go back to school physically. In terms of other measures that are not COVID related or disease related, I think we need to bring in people that are trained with working with students so that we can focus on going to the root of issues, because punishment is not enough when it comes to solving our problems in our schools. We definitely need to be using restorative measures and listening to the people who are a part of the problem and working together to come up with an answer for that.
Excellent. Mr. Sahota, same question. What do you feel should be done to make classrooms safe for children and staff from communicable diseases?
As a board member, being responsible for our students and teacher and staff, we will take the advice from the experts such as Fresno County Educational Department, Fresno County Health Department, and state guides, and applies to our school and see what's the best for our kids, what's the best for our unified as a COVID. Soon as the curve flattens, and possibly if the schools are opened, but it will be up to the take a precautionary measures and prepare both educational and instruction. And far as the other safeties, um, such as that schools crimes, and this is the needs to be work with the school staff and board members follows to see what's the precautions we could take it for the safety of our kids. And our school systems is declining on enrollments, and our works with the officials and teachers especially, and working with the parents, teachers, so they could have more effective systems on it. Thank you.
So I'm hearing a little bit about budget here and there, and I'm kind of multitasking up here, and I think this is a question that's circulating on YouTube right now. But what do you think of the cutbacks that have been made in the budget? What do you think of that? And we'll go ahead and go back to you, Ms. Naga.
Yeah. So we had a lot of unfortunate decisions that are made. Obviously, budget cuts are inevitable, but we definitely we need to look at the long-term effects of what we are cutting and look at the effects of what we can afford to cut. In terms of like laying off teachers, to prevent this from happening again, I'll make it a priority to work with the district to see if we can work with a grant writer, which will allow us to be proactive in applying for federal and state grants and making sure we don't miss any opportunities for future funding. Um, uh, the local control funding formula is also the biggest source of funding for Selma Unified, and it has to do with the attendance of our students, the average daily attendance. So something we can also work on at the same time is how we can keep our attendance at a high level, but also keep students engaged. Um, so this requires creating a culture where students aren't shying away from schools, but rather looking forward to attending school. And this can be done by things like implementing teaching strategies that employ like a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. So there are a lot of different ways we can approach this issue. Even something like funding is affected by so many different aspects, and I want to see like all of the different aspects, and I want us to explore all of them to see what we can do. But yeah, thank you.
We'll go to you, Mr. Sahota.
Would you repeat the
So
question?
what do you think of the cutbacks that have been made in the budget?
Well, as this is effects on all the school system throughout the state, and due to the pandemics and all the budgets when cut down, and especially in Selma, we have problems with the not having a enrollments declining. That's the biggest problem, and we have a student achievement hasn't gone up, and these things are kind of budget on it, and peoples are moving out of here in Salma to the some other areas. So declining budget, that 3.4 million cuts on it, and that is a fact. But our budget is 85 million for the school system, which 80% is goes to the salary, and then we left over with the 20% that goes toward the school running it, for the infrastructure, repairing it, and we have very small budget on it. And I understand as a board of trustee that we have to follow what the programs are necessary for our children, and we will prioritize it, which programs need necessary for our students, and obviously we want to achieve them a best education. That's when, as a student, as a board of trustee, our vision should be the students first, and take a pathway for them to the career, to the college, and prepare them as successful. So um, these are the things I would do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Baerano, with you on that question, what do you think the cutbacks have been? What do you think of the cutbacks that have been made in the budget?
They were horrendous for our community, our children, especially when we have our enrollment declinements has began to get worse from 2016. We have a current liaison officer employed by the district that should be accountable to go to people's houses, students that are not attending school, not only send mailers, because if the kids aren't going to school, they're intercepting the mail and the parents never get the notice. We have that in place. We need to hold that position accountable and everybody that's tied into that, first of all. Second of all, it's our responsibility. I'm going to switch over as a police officer to assist with that when it's deemed necessary. And it goes back to grooming within our district. If we're doing the right thing for kids, we can't go wrong. Kids are number one. Staff is involved there as well, but we have to put our kids first. If we do not put our students first, we will never, ever recover.
I'd like to offer the last two extra questions, because I really think these are important for our community to hear. And we'll stay with you here, Mr. Baerano, in regards to on-campus police have been eliminated from the Selma Unified School District's budget. And what do you think, the approach needs to be for the safety of our children?
We have to fund them positions, the two positions that I don't know if they were completely eliminated, but it's my understanding we're not having SROs. We have to continue to fund that program. The officer that, or the person that began that program over 20 years ago, is Brandon Shoemaker. He worked really, really hard on getting that program started, and I applaud him for that. But it is essential that we continue to figure out a way to fund police on campus.
Excellent. We'll go right down the line here.
Yeah, so it's a tricky situation to talk about because we know that safety is definitely an issue in Selma. But I think what we need to do is look at the research, and we need to look at what is actually effective help in schools. So, like, ultimately, we need people who are trained to work with students and are trained to de-escalate situations. We don't want a hostile environment at school. We want our schools to be a positive climate for students because we want them to be happy to go there. We don't want them to be afraid, and etc. Which is not implied if we have police officers at school. But I think we definitely need to look into everything and question the status quo. We need to look at would it be helpful, for example, if we had probation officers at the schools instead of police officers? Would that be more fiscally responsible? Would that have a better outcome when having relationships with students? Would they be more open to speaking about their problems, and would that solve more problems in the end? Yeah, I have a lot of ideas that I think that we should try and we should implement, and we should see how that works out. And yeah, I think we should definitely be basing things off of what is proven to be true. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. As a business owner, I have proven track for 20 years, successful business owner, community leader. I understand the accountability, educations, and how the system works. And being a leader, I think the as a campus safety, that should be the city's responsibility, and the city should be providing that um, for the coverage for the any extra police or anything safety for the kids. That should be the first priority. Being as a business owner, as a leader, I will build a gap between the cities. We have a problems between the city staff and the school system, and I will build up a gap. I will build up a bridge that where the city would be providing that. And if the city would have a safety and the school system will do better and both work together as a same time. So that would be I would make sure work with this visual. If there is a crime, and it would be the city's needs to be covers that, either the Selma PD or the city official, which is runs under the city of Selma. Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate that terminology you're using as far as building a bridge. So I'll start with you. This is going to be the last question for the evening. Not all students are doing well working from home and outside of the classroom setting. What is being done to phase in the special needs students and those students that are at risk back in the classroom setting? So how would you bridge this and offer your assistance?
Well, I have a three kids that work in my office on the Google platforms, and being as a parent, we have problems in we are in a rural area, and the students living in a rural area not getting a proper either the internet not there, and they're not getting a proper educations. So we have Care Act. They had a $10.2 million that provided by the educational department, and that needs to be implemented such a way where the kids will get a proper education during this pandemics. As had a meetings with the superintendents, and I working closely with them and see that what's where are we going to going in it. Seems like it's going to go for a while, and they're going to be working on implement better for the kids on it, and having a better platform for the teacher and the students. And there is a gap that needs to be built, and that's why we need a teacher and parents work together on this, and where they could have more forms with the parents and find out what the best for them as a board of trustee, as a work with the superintendent and a their staff. Thank you.
Ms. Nagara?
Yeah. So this question's very close to me. I finished my last 2/3 of my college year on Zoom, so I definitely understand the struggles of virtual education. I've been tuning into the school board meetings, and I'm glad to know that they've been hoping to get hotspots for those who need it, and that they've been rolling out the Chromebooks for students also, because I know most of Selma do not have individual laptops for each student. And also in terms of special needs and learning disabilities, at UCLA helped found an organization that advocated for students who were neurodiverse, meaning they were either on the autism spectrum or they had ADHD. And we conducted trainings for staff, for student groups, for resident assistants, for teaching assistants on campus. And I would love to see if we can implement similar trainings to staff on Selma School campuses, because there is so much that even I learned while helping to found this program about how students with learning disabilities are treated in schools, especially kindergarten and up, especially in our elementary schools. There's so much that is just written off as students who don't care, students who don't want to be there, and they're just causing trouble. But a lot of this is rooted in undiagnosed learning disabilities, and there's a proper way to approach that as a teacher and approach that as school officials. And I definitely would love to explore that as a trustee if I had the position. But yeah, I think it has to do a lot of awareness about this certain issue, and we can then try to tackle it through our virtual learning process.
Excellent. We'll end that question there with you, Mr. Baerano.
Can you repeat it, please?
Yes, so not all students are doing well working from home and outside of the classroom setting. What is being done to phase in the special needs students and those students that are at risk back in a classroom setting?
I think and know that the district is heading in the right direction with having mental health clinicians available to our students. We have a tool, our dog Jeter, also that helps out, but I would continue to expand on that um, because it's extremely important. From being involved with kids, my half of my life, it's extremely important. As a police officer, I see how it's affecting them every time I go to somebody's home, um, and that's paramount. We need to make that number one priority now, and giving the district the tools to bring on more mental health clinicians and more Jeters. We need them. It's essential. It's a given. It's a given fact. I see the results when you utilize tools like Jeter.
Excellent. So just to end the evening, we're going to give you 1 minute each. Again, we appreciate your answers, but I want to make it a little bit more of a personal touch to wind down the evening. So, what could we find each one of you doing on your downtime? I know we've had a lot of downtime through the pandemic over the last 6 months, but what can the citizens of Selma find each of you doing in your downtime? We'll give you 1 minute each just to wind down the night. So we'll go to the middle here. We'll start with you, Mrs. Nagra.
Yeah, of course. So recently I've been kind of busy, but what I like to do in my free time is paint. As I was a child growing up, I always used to tell my parents that I'm going to grow up to be an artist, but I decided instead of going into that as a career path, I'd rather do it for fun. But yeah, that and just spending time with my parents outside whenever it's safe, whenever our air quality is safe enough to spend time outside. But yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Excellent. Mr. Sahura?
Yeah, in my free times, I travels if I can, and but during pandemics, and I went helping out the we created I'm one of the founder on a SEVA, which is the Selma Embarking Voluntary Action, and we went doing a helping out the locally here in this pandemics, serving the foods to the senior, and well as giving out the foods who need it. So we served over 75,000 meals this year, and that's the one of the things that during this free time we were working on with the closely with the working other clubs, Kiwanis, Lions, Rotary clubs, and also the local businesses. So that's I'm kind of enjoying that and spending some times with my kids. Thank you.
Excellent. We'll close it out there, Mr. Baerano. How about you?
Continue to be consistent with the district that I live in and work for, on and off duty, spending time with the Boys and Girls Club, as now we can't be as involved, but I'm consistent with the area that I've worked in, so continue what I do.
Excellent. Again, I want to thank each of you for your answers and your transparency and helping the citizens of Selma make a more informative decision on who to bring on to serve on the Selma District Board. I'd like to just, if you could just stay put for just a second, but I'd like to address the viewing audience, those at home. The forum will be available on the City of Selma's YouTube channel tomorrow. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us, all the candidates. Thank you again for your transparency and helping us move forward to make Selma a better place to live. We appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you.
Love you, son.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.